Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my how-to videos. You may have seen one of the videos I recorded previously a few days ago saying that I'm going to do some how-to videos doing bike tyres and also car tyres. I haven't filmed the car tyre one yet, but I'm now going to film the bike tyre one. Now rather conveniently I actually have a flat, which makes it a bit easier for me to show you. It's so convenient, it's actually slightly annoying as well if I actually wanted to use my bike. Now my bike is actually a mix of about 4 and a bit different bikes, so yeah. Now my bike, because it's a mix of many different types of bikes, the front tyre is on a disc brake and the rear tyre is on a traditional brake that gets onto the wheel. I don't know what the name of that is, it's just a brake. I'm going to quickly show you how to do the back brake, and then I will be taking off the front wheel because that's the one that is flat. Now many of you will have a braking system which is similar to this, which is you can't get the wheel out as the brake is in the way. It's quite simple to release. Squeeze it together slightly, not a lot, it's just enough so you can pop that open like that, and then the brake on both sides comes open and then the wheel can easily pop out. Now this one is actually on quick release system here, so I can just pull that open, unwind it, the wheel comes out. The chain is easy enough to put back on once you take it out, but in order to get the wheel out, it's best if the bike is actually upside down, unless you have a proper bike stand that you can actually hold the bike in. To get the bike upside down, it's quite simple. I've got the rear brake connected again, and what I'm going to do is basically apply the rear brake, rotate it up, then I release the rear brake, push it forwards, and then it slowly goes down, making sure you don't break your mudguard on the way. And the bike is now upside down. I can release the brake from the back. I can release the brake from the back as I showed you before, undo this, pop this out, it goes past the chain quite easily, you don't need to worry about that. To get it back in again, just simply fit it back in, wrap the chain around the gears, wind it round, and it should all fall back into place. And I'm now going to show you the front one on my bike. Okay, this is the front wheel. This is the one that's flat. I don't know why it's flat, it shouldn't be. It's actually a relatively new tube in here. This one is a disc brake, so this one's even easier to get past the brakes. Don't have to worry about anything here. I will just say, make sure the disc brake is set up correctly. When I bought bike originally, because this brake wasn't part of this bike, it does fit onto this system. When I got the original bike it came on, it wasn't set up correctly and I had to redo it. So just make sure that when you get it from the shop they've set it up correctly, because mine wasn't and it was rubbing something horribly. I'm not actually sure what size spanner this is. Now the spanners I picked up are actually Imperial and the bolt on there is metric, so it's not going to be a perfect fit. What you're going to want to do is have one spanner on one side which you just hold still, and the other one you simply rotate and it comes loose. And then you can do the same on the other side. Rotate it. You don't need to take the bolts all the way off, you just need to make them loose. Now as I said, this brake is a disc brake, which means the wheel should just lift out. There we go. Now you need to take the tyre off. Right, this is a tyre removal tool. You can buy them in any good bike shop. You can take the tyre off and put it back on without one of these, but this makes it a hell of a lot easier. Alright, so to take the tyre off, first of all you're going to need to remove the valve cap. That's just the dust cap. Keep that somewhere safe, don't want to lose that. Just pop that through there. Then simply should come off quite easily, like so. Okay, getting it back on is the tricky bit. And the tube should simply come out from the tyre. Okay, mine seems to be stuck onto the tyre for some reason. I've never really had that problem before, but I'm not sure why it's stuck to the tyre. Anyway, now what you need to do at this point, now the most common reason you'll get a flat is probably a thorn or a bramble or something. So I like to just check around the tyre. I'm feeling it. I'm actually feeling the inside as well. Feeling if there's anything. In fact, there is something. Very much so. I don't know if the camera can pick this up. This isn't planned. I had no idea this was here. Can you see that? There we go. So, need to get rid of that. There we go, that was causing me my problems. So I've got a hole in my outer tyre. That's not really so bad. There's not much I can really do about that. It's not on a join or a seam. I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to continue checking around the tyre. Visually inspecting it and feeling it as well. Because if I'd fixed the tube and then put it back onto this tyre, I would have just ended up with another flat again, and that would have been no good. So I'm happy that the tyre is no more thorns. They will be the most common reason you'll get a flat, which means somewhere on here is a hole. Now that's going to be quite hard for me to find visually. I can have a quick look, I can't see it. So the best way to detect it is by sticking this in a bucket of water. Right, I've just gone and got my bucket of water. Got a pump as well. This is a little pump that I carry with me when I go out on my bike. It's quite useful. Now, this bike behind me doesn't actually have the bracket to support it. That's on a different frame. Because I said this is a mix of many different bikes. So anyway, I need to get a little bit of air into here. So I pop this on, like so, and then pump it up. Now I normally use a large air compressor for this, but for the purposes of this video, it's just easier if I do this. Now you don't want to overinflate it too much, because the actual tube can stretch, and that's not good. But you do need sufficient amount of air, so I can pop it into here and then find out where the leak is. Right, now it's quite easy to see where the hole is. The air is pouring out of there. So I need to make a note of that location. I'm just going to stick my thumb over it so I don't lose it. As far as I know, it's only the one hole. Now, luckily it's not on a seam, which means it should be quite easy to fix. Now in the old days, when I was a kid, I used to use these great big patches, and you used to have to use glue, and then you'd have to use talc to absorb any excess glue on the tube so it doesn't stick to the tyre. It's all a bit of a palaver. Nowadays you can just get instant sticky patches, which are much easier. Just going to dry the area. What I'm going to do, so that the patch can stick a bit easier, I'm just going to rough up the area. If you don't have one of these tools, just a little bit of sandpaper also work. It just roughs it up so this patch has something to stick on, dries it. I find it best to put the patch on when the tyre is semi-inflated, as it is now. I've got the hole just here, that you probably can't see that at all on the camera, but that is where the hole is. So simply put the patch over the hole, like that. make sure it's nice and securely down. These patches do stretch a little bit, so when you inflate the tyre they will stretch a bit. They don't stretch a huge amount, which is why you need a little bit of air in there. Okay, that should be all good. Now I need to get this back onto the wheel, which is the tricky bit. Okay, what I'm going to do now, feed the valve through the hole. Now it's quite important the valve is straight down. If the valve is at some weird angle when you put it on, that can cause damage to the valve. And that's not so easy to fix. You may probably just end up having to get a new tube if you damage the valve. It'll probably be easier than messing about trying to fix it. And then the tyre. Now this is where the tyre tool comes in handy. Now, so I don't always use it. I didn't use it to get the tyre off. I'm going to see if I can get away with not using it when I put it on. Now, which way does it go? That's important. It goes that way. Right, most tyres will actually have arrows on the side somewhere, so you know which way round it goes. But I've just been looking at this one and there are no arrows. So I've just got to look at it and make sure I get it the right way. You can usually tell by the tread. It's not the end of the world if you put it on the wrong way, but you know, it is meant to go one way or the other. Right, I'm feeding the tube into the tyre, and then the wheel to follow. So this is the tricky bit. This is the bit you may need practice with. I'm going to shut up now while I work this out. Okay, right, the tyre is now on. Again, make sure the valve is straight. It's important. Now, I didn't need to use the tool. Now, as I said, it is obviously possible to get the tyre on and off without using these, as you just saw there. It isn't used. The rim of the tyre has a little lip on it, and that's on the inside all the way around on both sides. Make sure that it's straight. You know, level all the way around. Straight's probably the wrong word because it's all curved. But what you don't want is for it to be quite high on one side and then really jammed in on the other side, on the opposite side. You want to make sure it's pretty much even all the way around on both sides. On that side and on this side. Make sure the valve is straight and then start pumping it up. Now, if I was doing this with my back wheel, where I've got the conventional brake that clamps it, I would probably only partially pump it up first, slide it in, and then put the brakes around and then fully pump it up. But because this is for my front wheel, I don't actually need to worry about that because it's a disc brake. So stick that on there and then start pumping. I'm doing it like this. So what you want to do, just check it, the pressure, give it a little squeeze, and that's still quite soft. It needs a bit more air. As I said, I do, when I go out, carry this pump with me, so if I felt the tyre was soft, I would stop and stick a bit more air in there. You can usually tell it's soft, especially if the front, because steering is an absolute mission, especially if you're riding along and you've got a sudden quick flat, you know, you can't steer. The back one is a little less obvious, but again, you know, you'll notice it unless you have no nerves or feelings. Okay, I think we're good. Take this off. You're always going to lose a tiny bit of air when you take the pump off, especially if you've got one that's really stuck on there. I have in the past had ones that get stuck, and as you try to take them off, you end up losing half the air that you've just put in, so then you have to reattach it again, which is slightly annoying, but this one comes off quite easily. Get the little dust cap, stick that back on just to protect the valve, and then stick it back on the bike. You're going to want to make sure that the wheel is straight in line with the bike, so if it's slightly raised on one side, it's going to be all over the place. So you want to make sure that it runs smoothly and is level. I'm just going to straighten the bolts up slightly with my fingers. I'm just eyeing up the disc brake. Now I can see that that is not correct because it's rubbing on the disc brake. So I'm just going to loosen the bolts, just move it slightly. Alright, the wheel is back on, and I decided I would adjust the disc brake pad very slightly. Now you may find this quite often when you take the wheels off and put them back on. Even though you think you've put everything back 100% identical to where you found it, it very rarely actually works out like that. Again, if both styles of brakes, whether it's the old style or the new style, I quite often find you may need a tiny adjustment anyway. It is spinning around now, as it should. Make sure both sides are nice and tight. So I put the spanners in opposite directions. You don't want it so tight you can never get them off again, but at the same time you want the wheel quite secure while you're riding, so a good level of tightness is needed. And that is how you fix a puncture on a bike. Before you go anywhere on it, just test it out, make sure the brakes are working as they should. I say you may need to fiddle with them again. Hopefully you won't need to. I'm just saying sometimes it does happen. I'm just looking at mine now. I might have to give it another little play around just to make sure that it's okay. I've had issues with this brake in the past. So hopefully I can get it back working again as it should do. But anyway, the video is about the tyre. That is how you repair a puncture. So remember, you need to visually check the tube and feel it as well, as along with the tyre. Visually check it and feel it, because that little spike sticking through the tyre, I felt that before I saw it. I say if you fix the tube but then leave any like spikes, brambles, whatever in the tyre, you're basically wasting your time. And that's it. I actually made a helpful how-to video. Who would have thought I'd do that? Don't worry, normal service will resume soon, where I will make an extremely unhelpful how-to video. But until then, thanks for watching. Click like if you found this helpful. Please subscribe for more how-to videos and other stuff which are completely unrelated. And I will see you later. Bye.